we're going to be looking at the tag helper process. So tag helpers are a Microsoft feature for Razor pages. Consider them Razor's subroutines to replace themselves with HTML. There are several varieties. We will focus on one. The file _view imports.cs HTML needs to know where to find them in order to use them. So here's a step-by-step example of what you need to do. We will start first with the view imports file. In this file, there needs to be a line that says at tag helper space asterisk, that's a wildcard, and the assembly where it can find them. So this allows the MVC tag helpers found in that namespace to be available. Again, the asterisk is a wildcard saying any within this assembly. And yes, you could specify one if you wanted to. Next, you need to be able to find the tag helpers that you write, not just Microsoft's. The second line allows for all our solution tag helpers to be found. And again, you're saying wildcard star in our tag helper assembly. So those two lines have to be in your view imports file. So now we're going to look at the tag helper itself, and I've called mine the Redmond contact tag helper because it produces the Redmond address when you look at one of the default web pages. So it's going to start. We're going to be using both threading tasks and the tag helpers. Tasks are because Razor can be asynchronous or synchronous. I don't use the asynchronous, so perhaps I could do without that. But you definitely need to make sure that it knows how to use tag helpers with using Microsoft ASP.NET Core Razor tag helpers. Then we're going to need a namespace. Give yourself a unique namespace so use of the tag helpers is easily spotted in your other files. So this is how it starts, the public class. This tag helper, it will be automatically referred to as Redmond contract. It does that by making it lowercase, separating obvious words with an underscore, and cutting off the tag helper. It is a class and a child of tag helper class. It allows a standard contact address to be used with a local phone number, but with the standard Redmond text included. That's how we're going to use it. So now we're inside the class itself. You don't pass it parameters, but any of these properties you set are used as if they were parameters. So we're going to have a public string that's a phone. This property will be automatically referred to in lowercase phone when I use it in the tag helper itself. It is the local phone number used for this page. It acts like a parameter. So for instance, there's an example of what it looks like. Redmond _contact space phone equals. That's the phone number it will use. It actually gets flowed into this public string phone property, and then in our C# we can access that value when we use the phone property. Notice the tag helper text is removed and the text separated by dashes and in lowercase words. Public override void process. This is an existing tag helper process that you override. The tag helper will be called by the system at some point in time. It'll pass in the context of the windowing system or the web system and the output that you're going to use. And that allows you to add to the output. That output is just the cumulative result of all of the Razor page put into HTML. So this method requires override for an existing method in the tag helper class. It is a sync, but you can't have a sync as one of the processes. The Razor engine will call this method in your class and pass it those two parameters. We talked about the tag helper context. It has all of the context of your system, of the page, everything. And then the output itself is where the HTML will go. So here's our first bit of output, and in the output there's a number of things you can choose, but content append HTML, you don't want to replace the HTML, you want to append to it. And notice we're sticking in, well, it's an HTML, it's added directly to the content in the tag helper output class. And there's some more. So we're putting in an address that there's at the bottom, the end of the address. That's address is a special tag in HTML. We have our one Microsoft way with a break, And then you will notice that we use C#. There's a $sign for escape, so we don't worry about the slashes. There's my phone in blue where I'm passing it in. So, and we'll finish it off. Yes, right there. We're done with our method. That's all. It is not difficult. So, next we'll look at our Razor view to see how to call our tag helper. The web page is called the contacts controller using the contacts method. This method expects a contacts.cs HTML view in the view contacts folder. So here we go. This is our contacts HTML, and we have some view data. The title for this web page is set to the view directory dictionary. And the view data dictionary is used to display some text. This is our tag helper from the Redmond contact TagHelper.cs class. Notice its color changes to purple once it is recognized as a tag helper when you're editing it in Visual Studio. But there it is, Redmond contact space phone, and there's our phone number. Notice the tag helper text is removed and the text separated by dashes and lowercase. The phone property is accessed by a lowercase parameter and the tag helper call. This is an HTML tag, so it has to be terminated properly. But that's all done when you edit your HTML. And there we have highlighted in yellow what your call is. Again, it's very simple. I hate having my molecules scrambled. So as you can see, tag helpers aren't transporter science. It's really easy. Just give it the name that you want, pass the variables in that you want. It really cleans up your HTML code. So that's how you do tag helpers. Go out and do it. Beam me up. Oh, I hate this. And then we just finish up the rest of our HTML with other information that shows up on the bottom of the page. Just to review, that's all it is. So, review. The tag helpers are a Microsoft feature for Razor pages. Consider them Razor subroutines to replace themselves with HTML. The file view imports needs to know where to find them. Use them like any other HTML tag. Now, let's look at a working example. Yay! I'm in Visual Studio 2017. I have my application open, so we'll take a look at this. This is not a large application. Standard startup, simple configuration. And I'm doing one thing. I have one screen. Views. I have home. I'm going to have an about page, contact, index, and privacy pages. This is just what you use when you create a brand new application. This is the tag helper that you've just looked at. I will share this. So let's run it to see what it does. So here's our tag example front page. These are all very standard, but we're going to go to contact. There we have our tag helper working. There is our address that's passed in, where the phone number is passed into the tag helper. So we'll actually change that now. We'll actually use some obscure address. And I have no idea what the zip code is for the White House. So there we are. Beyond this, let us go to the actual controller. Index about contacts. There's where we send it in. We're going to change it to this your brand new contact page. And now we'll look at the view itself. So let's run this now with our changes. And only contacts will be different. So that's all it is. Let's look at this as we're editing it. You see that this is purple. That's a feature that IntelliSense gives the editor, so you know it's working whenever that is purple. If something's wrong, it'll change back to the brown color.